Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are here to take a look at some pitching for today, the 8th of July. It's Wednesday, and we do have an 8-game main slate ahead of us this evening. I have not looked at the latest weather updates, so we are going to need to pay attention there. I'm not sure if there's any weather for the main slate or if it was from the early only slate, but definitely something we need to take a look at. I think Minnesota had some questions, and that might be the only one, to be honest. A reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I am looking at DraftKings as that is where the majority of my action is. If you play on FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, with all that fun stuff said and done, let's just jump in. Take a look at all these pitchers. We do have one opener, so really we have 17 pitchers to technically look at. We're trying to trim our pitcher pool down, make the rest of our afternoon a little bit easier to finalize, really, our pitching pool. So, the goal of this first look is to generally eliminate a third or more of the pitcher pool, just to like I mentioned, break it down a little bit better. Allow us some time to then dig in. My final pitching pool will be available to the members over at DFS Army in my notes. But with all that said and done, let's just jump in. Matchup by matchup. We get Kansas City, we get the New York Mets. We get Kansas City going with an opener. Cruz, very likely to go 1 inning. I guess he could go up to 2, but very likely to be a 1-inning guy at this point. Dobnak being the long reliever. Now, people are going to see 4K and think it's pretty decent. He was all right against Tampa Bay. The problem is he doesn't really strike many dudes out. Obviously, Tampa Bay doesn't strike out a whole lot overall, but Dobnak's not really a K guy. He allowed a bunch of base runners in that appearance. I'm a fan of Dobnak from his time in Minnesota. He really stepped up in some spots and kind of surprised. But I just don't really feel like playing him for 4K. Even though there's a good shot that he goes 75 pitches in long relief if things go smoothly. There is also a chance he only goes 40 pitches and is done after 2 innings. I don't know. It's tough because this game had a ton of runs yesterday. I don't really like to predict back-to-back massive games, but a lot of things line up for this game to be pretty offensive again. Christian Scott on the other side, I'm seeing some interest in him in some projected ownership. I did write about him in today's What Do We Win When We Win article. Notice that he's given up 6 home runs over his last 3 starts, and that's come with 7 walks as well. Now, the strikeouts have been solid, but he has not completed the 5th in any one of those 3 starts either. So, it's just not really a spot I'm overly interested in. Philly, Cincinnati. I am interested in both pitchers. Rangel looked pretty decent last time out, up to 90 pitches. Still only completed 4 innings, but still, 90 pitches is key. The walks are a worry. He is a ground ball guy. I guess he was last start, but most starts he hasn't been. Being a fly ball guy would be a bad thing in Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's striking out a bunch. Obviously, we saw Zach Wheeler mow them down. Rangel is not Zach Wheeler, so don't expect that same performance. But I do think there's K upside for him to maybe strike out 7 in 5 innings, and I think that's something I can live with. Now, getting the W is going to be a lot tougher than it was for Zach Wheeler, because on the other side, we get Chase Burns. His last couple starts haven't been great. He did strike out 10 against Pittsburgh, but gave up 5 runs. He's given up a home run in each of his last 3 starts. He does give up some home runs, so that's kind of expected with power pitching these days. Walks are generally pretty low. There could be a couple walks here. Philadelphia does a decent job of walking. Philadelphia is without Trey Turner at the top of the lineup tonight, so that's something to pay attention to. I like Chase Burns' upside. definitely somebody I want to play a lot. His best start of the season came against this Philadelphia squad. Boston and the White Sox, both pitchers certainly in play. Um, Davis Martin, I think, is slowly starting to see some of that regression that we thought might come because he just had never been this kind of pitcher before. So we're kind of seeing him come back down to earth a little bit. 3 negative fantasy point starts over his last 6 is obviously something to pay attention to. He's pitching at home where he's been absolutely phenomenal. ERA of .88 is insane. There's kind of some negative regression coming in that department, though. Like an average against of over 200 usually doesn't lead to an ERA of sub 1. His control is so much better at home, which shouldn't be the case. So, there's either negative regression coming at home or there's positive regression coming from his road starts. I'm not really sure yet, but he's in play. He's just not somebody I want to be super heavy on. Some of the Boston bats have started to finally heat up a little bit, so I like Boston's offense a little bit more. But I think Martin's certainly in play, especially because he's pitching at home. On the other side, Jake Bennett, 2 out of the last 3 starts has been phenomenal for us. Even that third start against the Yankees was pretty good. 2 runs or fewer in 4 straight starts. I like Jake Bennett. The overall White Sox numbers against left-handed pitching are fairly strong, but I do believe they come down a bit as the season progresses. Vargas was super hot against left-handed pitching. He's come down a little bit. Colson Montgomery has power against them, but I don't expect that to last. Randall Grichuk is a left-handed pitching hitting guy who, he pretty much has a job because he can hit left-handed pitching. So I kind of expect him to be decent, but those season-long numbers for the White Sox also include Murakami, who's on the IL, and Derek Hill, who was traded to the Phillies and continued his hitting ways against left-handed pitching. I think Bennett's a pretty solid play. If I'm being honest, I like Bennett more than I like Davis Martin tonight. Cleveland, Minnesota. 2 pitchers that we've used at different times. I think Connor Prelip is somebody I'm going to use. Some extra time. It's been, 11 days since he pitched last. Absolutely dominated against the Rockies. Obviously, it was the Rockies. But I like the upside that he does offer. There's volatility to it. Put up 17 DK points in the first meeting. Didn't pick up a win. He is pitching at home where he's been, far better than when he's on the road. So things just kind of lighten up for Connor Prelip to be in play for me tonight. Sony, somebody that we used a couple starts ago in Seattle, let us down last start. I think I'm going to get off of him here, even though the Twins are without Buxton. I think he's just not really in play. I'd rather play Connor Prelip. If I'm going sub 7K, Prelip makes more sense. I think Ron Hell makes a little bit more sense than Sasoni, just matchup based only. And then obviously you have Roki Sasaki, virtually the same price as well. Milwaukee, St. Louis. Max McGreevy, we've used a couple times. I don't really love the upside. I don't really expect him to drop 30 again this season. I do expect him to be more in the teens. Plus, Milwaukee, I generally don't use right-handed pitching against Milwaukee. It's mostly left-handed pitchers that interest me the most. On the other side, you get Kyle Harrison. Big-time upside, right? 3 games of double-digit strikeouts. Had 9 strikeouts 2 starts ago against the Cubs. A lot of upside. He had 19 DK points against St. Louis the first time he faced them. He is pitching on the road where he's been far worse than at home, so that's a worry. I think he's just more of a sprinkle in, but the K numbers are strong. I get St. Louis generally doesn't strike out a whole lot, but obviously Mizorowski dominated against them yesterday. I don't remember what the final line was last night, but it couldn't have been too terrible. Kyle Harrison certainly has the upside that we want on a slate like this. Angels, Texas Rangers. Walbert Urena is somebody that I've used a few times. I'm going to consider him again tonight. I don't love the walk numbers. Those are real scary. But if he shows up like he did here, that's pretty strong for us. 24 fantasy points against the A's offense in that ballpark. Says quite a bit because he was able to not walk anybody. Put up 20 against Texas the first time he faced them. Um, some of his underlying numbers kind of say there should be some regression, some positive regression on the road, but some of them also say negative. So I don't really know what to expect. Fantasy points wise, he's been pretty low, but it's just because he's not picking up W's. A 2.91 ERA on the road is pretty solid. So he should have some more win equity than he's shown. So I think Urena is a decent sprinkle into our pool this evening. On the other side, Mackenzie Gore right now is projecting to be the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. That worries me a little bit. He was dominating against the Angels, nearly 24 fantasy points. Didn't pick up the win, so you'd be looking at a 28 spot if he got the win. He averages more than double as many points at home as he does on the road. So I'm always a big Mackenzie Gore fan. I do understand that it comes with a ton of volatility. We can see from his start ranges, even last start, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, still struck out 7. 3+ earned runs in 3 out of his last 4 starts. But 3 out of the last 4 starts, he also has 19+ fantasy points. So he's able to get there fantasy point wise, thanks to strikeout upside. And we realize that the Angels offer the best K upside in baseball, basically, at this point. Colorado and the Dodgers not using Gabriel Hughes. Might be a 70 pitch guy or so. As he gets extended out, or they might keep him at 50 and turn it into a bullpen game. I'm not 100% sure yet. On the other side, we get Roki Sasaki. And what do we do with Roki Sasaki? We cry because we probably are rostering him tonight. His last 4 starts have not been great. One was okay, I guess. He gave up 2 home runs, 3 runs. But still, nearly 16 fantasy points without getting a W. Probably decent enough. A month ago, he did drop 33. A month and a half ago, 31. So he does have the upside. He does show his ability once in a while. His one start against Colorado was in Coors, and he struggled quite a bit there, allowing a ton of base runners. He's better when pitching at home, so we get that tonight. I'm playing Roki Sasaki, but I hate the idea of doing so. Let's be honest. Right now, currently projected to be the second highest owned pitcher on DraftKings, according to our metrics. Last game of the night, Arizona and San Diego, we get Michael King. He looked really good against the Dodgers in the start. He must have fell apart a little bit in the 5th or 6th to give up a couple runs, but overall, I thought he looked super good against the Dodgers. 3 starts ago against Atlanta, absolutely dominate them. The one thing I wonder about is, will his K numbers ever return? He hasn't struck out more than 5 in almost 2 months. He did strike out 9 against the Dodgers, so it's there. I just don't know when it's going to return. Nice thing is he hasn't allowed a home run in his last 4 starts. Bad thing is that he's allowed 9 walks. I think overall the Arizona lineup has been weak enough recently that Michael King is definitely viable. He's probably somebody that I want to play 20% of my builds or so. Maybe not much more. Right now it looks like he's projected to be sub 15%. Jose Cabrera on the other side, no interest in Cabrera. Not much of a guy that I know anything about, to be honest. I know a lot about some various prospects, etc., but I don't know much about Cabrera. He hasn't really shown me much. I just don't think he's worth it on this slate. Well, there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching option on the slate. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at TFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly on any MLB package, or Best Ball 2026 gets you 20% off any NFL or VIP membership. The VIP and the Core 4 does include MLB action as well. There is a link to the merch store down below. You can check out my hoodie, some of the other designs. Hit the comments. Let me know where you're going. What are you doing with Roki Sasaki tonight? That's the biggest question for me. Is it the spot where you just kind of close your eyes and click the name and hope? Or do you stack the Colorado Rockies? That's the big question. Best of luck, everybody.